speaking since what, you were 4?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll take what I can get.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's called paying your dues.
Yeah. A freaking boy is the kind of guy that degrades women. It threatens their masculinity. It threatens their ability to like hunt a bear and stuff like that. You get so much rejection.
And how do you handle that?
You just kind of move on with your life. You know, because you never really know. It could always come back.
Not really that big.
Just like keep, live, laugh, loving. That's my biggest living advice.
About to grace us, whether extraordinary 10x skill. 10x badass. Yeah, I'm after what I want.
Hello and welcome to the Elena Cardone show. Today I have a very special guest in the house. This is a phenom. She is magical, amazing, leading world impact already at the ripe age of 12. I might sound like a braggadocious mother, but it all happens to be true. And I would like to welcome my incredible daughter, Scarlett Cardone, to the Elena Cardone show. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you. We also have in the house today Doodles Cardone, who might make a guest appearance at any time if he so chooses to crash the show, in which case we'll invite him up. But for now, thank you for being here, Scarlett.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Well, thank you, because a lot of my audience is very interested in you. And you've spoken at 10X stages in front of 34,000 people. You've started speaking at a young age. First of all, let's just start there. How was that experience for you?
It was a lovely experience. I was like, what, 7? Something like that?
Like 7? You started it? Yeah. I mean, at that event. But yes, you've been speaking since what, you were 4?
Probably.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful experience. I really, really loved the crowd. It was an amazing, amazing.
Were you scared?
Not really.
Did you not know to be nervous because you were so young?
I have more nerves now than I did then because there just wasn't much for me to lose. Yeah.
And so what are the nerves now about?
It's just, you know, the thing is when I'm not worried about messing up. I'm not worried about people not liking it. I'm just kind of generally worried because I think it's something that you're like trained to be worried about. Yeah. I mean, I think about it. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to mess up. Like, realistically, I don't.
And you never do.
I don't think I'm going to fall. I am kind of scared of falling down. So that is something. But yeah, I think it's kind of just like a fear of the actual act.
So you actually think you may have been conditioned maybe by society to think that you're supposed to be scared or nervous in these type scenarios? Potentially.
I don't want to make that decision that like, I don't want to say that with my chest because that's very conspiratorial.
Okay.
But it's possible.
Yeah.
There's always been like a minute amount of fear, but not that much. It kind of grows. But it's not something that's unmanageable.
Well, before I get into some of these more intense line of questioning, while we're on the subject of audiences and whatnot, you already know that you want to pursue a career as an actress. You asked me for several years before I actually kind of took this thing seriously. You said, I want an agent, I want a manager. And I thought, oh, yeah. I was in that world. So I was like, eh. But after you were so persistent, well done on that.
Thank you.
Put a few phone calls out there, and quickly you attracted some real top tier level managers and agents who saw that you are a talent. So let's start there. When did you get this acting bug? How did it come about? Can you talk to us about that? Like, why out of the blue?
Well, I think, okay, so when I was really young, I would obviously watch shows, and I loved the idea of it. I didn't really think it was possible. Like, in my mind, I wasn't like, that's something that anyone can just do. Like, you can't just see if you have, like, it wasn't real to me. So I was like, that would be cool. That would be fun. But to me, it wasn't possible. Like, it didn't make sense that you could just do that if you wanted to. With age, I realized, yeah, you can. And that's kind of when I decided. I was like, well, if anyone can, I'm anyone. I'll give it a whack. And my passion grew Very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've already been on some good high quality sets,
Yeah.
Disney show, etc. You've been in a couple of films now with
Well,
John Travolta. So what was your experience like on set? Were you nervous?
which one?
Either one, either set.
The first show I did was with Disney. It was a really good experience as my first thing. The really nice people, really nice, just really nice first experience. And then I did my movie with John Travolta, which was great. I don't want to hype this up because I wasn't really in the movie. About a fourth of my face was. But, you know, I take what I can get.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's called paying your dues.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I was also in the documentary with my dad
Right.
called Undercover Billionaire. You can watch it on Discovery Plus.
Nice.
Little plug there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or on YouTube or
Yeah.
on YouTube or Discovery Plus.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of why I know people are really excited to hear what you have to say today. So a lot of parents are struggling with relationships with their kids, which is so weird because I feel like I was just 12. So for me, I'm like, wait, when did I become uncool? How did this happen to me? And why don't I relate anymore? Because I remember not relating with my parents. But now that I'm in this seat, I don't remember why I don't relate. So why do you think kids aren't telling their parents everything or getting advice from their parents?
Well, there's obviously the first thing. They're doing things that their parents would not appreciate, which I think you can figure out in your own mind.
No, I need to know.
You know, a lot of kids do drugs. They vape, they smoke. A lot of kids just do stuff they shouldn't do. Why are you looking at me like
I'm
that?
like what? Okay. Is that maybe one of the reasons why kids don't talk to their parents? Or are they afraid of getting like
Punished.
they punished or, you know, they kind of get that look like I'm like, oh, is that right?
I don't really know what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, like, because just now I found myself like, you're like, oh, they vape, they this, they that, and you're like, and other stuff. So as a parent, I'm going, other stuff. Is she talking like sex stuff? Because you're 12 and like, should you even be knowing about that stuff? And that's an uncomfortable conversation to be having with you right now, honestly.
Not really. I don't really care.
Yeah, you don't, but we do.
Why do you care? I'm not doing anything wrong.
No, I know, but I'm talking about general, like as a general thing. Like the parents kind of, like the kids are pretending like they're not supposed to know these things when they do.
I guess so, yeah, definitely. And then I think another reason is that kids or younger people accumulate things that they have done that they know they shouldn't have done that kind of act as a transgression against their parentals. I don't know if I said parentals, their parents.
I like that.
Which, in accumulation over time, that starts to kind of weigh down on their conscience. So they have to kind of justify it and make it right for themselves by saying, oh, well, my parents suck, so it doesn't matter. My parents are always wrong. My parents don't respect me, which that can be true on some occasions, but it can also just be they're trying to protect themselves from what they know they shouldn't have done, the repercussions and their own consciousness of it.
Wow, that's deep. You've given that some thought, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you think the kids wish they could talk to their parents? Like they get in this word you said the other day, a conundrum. They find themselves in a situation and they were like, gosh, I wish I could talk to my parents about this. I would like to get their advice, but I can't get their advice because I can't tell them about this.
If your child is coming to tell you something and to talk to you and trying to get your opinion, the first thing you shouldn't do is start to lecture them or be mad at them or say, I'm taking away your phone, you little rat, which I think is what a lot of parents do. So that
But let's clarify, I've never called you a rat. Like, we're not talking about me, right? Okay. I
don't think any parent has directly called their child a rat.
Okay. But yes, I get what you mean.
But yeah, I think it's like they're afraid because that has happened with a lot of parents.
Yeah.
To kind of
No, I found myself doing that a few times.
A few times, not very often.
And I have to remind myself of that because I want to continue to have the relationship. So if you come to me and you tell me, for instance, Fortnite. You and Papa are Fortnite, right? The
Yeah,
game?
what about Fortnite?
Well, I'm coming up with a hypothetical. This hasn't happened, but this could be an example of it. Like, so you and Papa and Sabrina are now playing Fortnite. Well,
Well, I'm spectating. All I know how to do is drive a car, and I don't even do it very well. I tried to kill someone once, and it did not end well for me.
okay,
Yeah.
but let's pretend like the mother is saying, you're on Fortnite too much, da-da-da-da-da. And then the kid is playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, whatever. Now, you have the opportunity to have other people talk to you through that game. Like,
You could?
but let's say they are.
Okay.
Now, let's say that person, something went weird, sketch. Maybe it was like a groomer type
We'll
situation.
find a way to bring this up.
Well, the thing is the kid might not feel comfortable telling the parent because then they would say, they're going to take away my favorite game if I tell them this.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You
That's
know?
a good example. Yeah.
That is a good example.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your message to parents then if they want to?
Well, I'm not a parent, so I mean, I would hope not.
But from a kid's point of view.
Yeah. But so I'm just saying, like, take it with a grain of salt. You can take it if you want or don't. But I'm a kid. Your kid likely feels the same way. Make you, as a parent, a safe space for them because assuming they go to school, that's probably already somewhere they get judged, somewhere that's an anxious thing for them. And then they have friends who aren't real friends. And, there's a lot of danger in the world. So don't be another additive to that.
And if a parent perceives that one of your friends is a danger and isn't the best for you, should the parent say something to you or let you figure that out on your own?
I mean, I think you should. I think so.
What?
I think because
You should what?
give your opinion about them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess if you're not asked, you don't have to. But I mean, you can say whatever you want. I think it's good to let the child know what you think. But I don't think you should enforce it on them because then it's a can't have, must have kind of situation. And they just have to kind of figure it out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so if a parent feels like maybe their kid is taking advantage of them, like being unappreciative or doesn't really get it from a parent's point of view, maybe they're hitting that teen year and the parents getting more of the eye rolls and the the non-acknowledgement when they walk in the door or this or that. What advice could you give that parent to be able to have the conversation to the child to get the child's willingness and agreement to like be kinder to their parents?
I think if they don't want to, they're not going to.
Period. So leave it alone and just let them know they're going through a phase.
I mean, I think something you always have to keep in mind is your kid is a kid. Their frontal lobe isn't developed.
Is that true?
Yeah, it develops when you're 25.
Huh. Okay, go on.
I think children are always underestimated, but I think you have to understand that, stuff happens and to not take it personally because it really isn't that big of a deal. I understand how it is hurtful, but I mean, it's kind of just, it'll end soon enough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you do want to have a conversation with them about it, you have to have their willingness, otherwise it won't work.
How do you get their willingness?
It just has to be something that they can acknowledge that they're doing. They have to be able, you can't really get it.
Yeah, so I see. I'm starting to connect the dots here. Like, you can't be like, you're doing this and accusing them and kind of invalidating them and evaluating them and then enforcing affinity, saying, you better treat me this way. And because that's all a make wrong to them.
Exactly.
So to get their willingness, I think from what you just said, then I would have to, like in a fun moment, hey, in this moment, maybe you could have said it a little differently. You agree? Get your agreement. Okay, good. And leave it alone and see about, does it improve? Because kids are smart.
They are.
You're going to catch on.
I think it'll work sometimes and it won't work other times. It depends on how willing your child is to work with you, which sucks. But I don't think there's like a foolproof way to get a good relationship with your kid when they're like a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it never hurts to try.
Yeah.
As long as you're not making it so you're like, you're hurting my feelings, you need to be nicer to me. Because that's not the kid's job. Is he's then gonna, or they're going to then feel like I have to take care of my mom, which they don't. So just make sure it's a very thought through plan.
That's very good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is the best lesson that you have learned from your mother?
AKA you?
No pressure. Pretend like I'm not here.
You've taught me to be kind to people. Yeah, you're a very kind person most of the time. But you've taught me to be a nice person, you know, really growing up. I've learned from you the way you are, the way you care.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What about what's the most important lesson you've learned from your father?
To not be a pushover. You know, I struggle, you know, I kind of have a problem with that.
Really?
Not really.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I think I can definitely address problems when there is a problem, but I feel like I kind of have to step into a different person. Like I kind of have to like really lock in.
Like you have to
Like if I'm
you have
gonna confront someone,
yeah.
I kind of have to leave the person I normally am behind for a minute and step into like a person that's like my dad, which is what I always think of. Because he's like...
He's definitely not a pushover.
He's not being disrespected a lot. And I think I was in a period of my life where I was being disrespected a lot. And I had to like have a conversation. It was very uncomfortable for me especially. We're not going to go into it, but...
Why not?
It's a very personal thing.
Yeah. Is it hard to confront your friends or like
Yeah, because I'm friends with a lot of guys. Not because by choice, respectfully, but because I make a lot of my friends at the church. And then I said this in my dad's podcast, I befriended 2 guy friends because they were who was running around when I was 8 years old. Then they befriended all their friends. And since I was friends with them, I had to become friends with their friends.
Of course.
And I think I'm really scared of being perceived as too much, too emotional, too caring too much about stuff. So I tend to kind of push things off a little bit because I don't want people to think of me that way.
And do they tend to think of that as like a girl or just Scarlett's emotional? Or is it like a girl?
And Scarlett. I'm kind of a dramatic person. I'm a very theatrical person. So they, yeah.
They what?
Not them specifically. They're good people. But like it can be difficult trying to express something that I think is wrong. Because I'm like very, very uncomfortable with the idea of people thinking that I'm making things, like making drama for my own, just to have it, just to be mad at something.
Right.
Yeah.
This is amazing to hear you say that. And I don't want to compare my life to you so much, but I was a tomboy, you know that. So I hung out with a lot of guys. And for the beginning part of my life, I tried so hard not to be like a girl.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard because you feel like you've just shove everything down.
Yeah.
But don't you realize that they're emotional, but they don't get considered, they don't get told to suppress that because they're not a girl. So they're not trying not to be a girl, but they have bigger emotions than we do sometimes.
They're crazy. Respect to my friends. I think there's this shtick that girls are more dramatic than guys. That is simply not true. Open a history book and educate yourself.
No, tell me more.
Napoleon.
What
was Hitler? I'm talking about guys that caused things that didn't need to be caused in history.
Oh, you mean because they're
Alexander
over-dramatic?
the Great? Yes.
But I'm not linking how they're...
Because they're doing stuff they don't need to be doing. They're dramatic.
Okay.
Andrew Tate.
Who?
Andrew Tate.
Is that a battle that you have with the guy friends?
It's a very big battle. Because I just have to like take a minute to come to terms with the fact that when this gets clipped, people are going to be very upset at me. I've seen clips of him openly mocking women. I'm not cool with that.
I'm fine with that.
And people say, oh, he's a really great influence on young boys. Okay. I mean, I think it's good to teach guys to be respectable, to be strong, to be, you know, a good guy, but
You don't think he really edifies women? Did he do OnlyFans or something?
I think he manages it.
Something like that? I don't know. I'm not really well-versed on him.
I've heard people talk about that. And he also shames people who do that, and then he manages it, so it doesn't make sense. He's kind of hypocritical.
It's kind of like not really family values, is it?
No.
No.
When you think of Andrew Tate, you do not think of family,
Family
values.
values.
He sleeps with like
So is
different
that
women
what
every
he's
week.
telling men? Like,
I mean, I don't know. I think
the conquest is to be with however
he has
many
a
women
wife,
you can go
I think.
through?
Does he have a wife?
I don't know. Maybe we
Someone
need
look
to
that up.
Google it. I don't think
Thanks.
so.
I think he has a daughter, which kind of concerns me. But back to, it's a thing. I'm not going to say he's a bad person who gives, I think some of his advice is good. I think
Well, that's what's confusing.
a lot of it
because
isn't good. He
Right.
has conflicting interests.
yeah, I agree with you.
I think he really invalidates women. I think he really invalidates men too by staying. How do I give a good example of this? I just don't think he's a great guy. Respectfully.
Like,
I
because
don't know. I don't know if the rumors about him sex trafficking are true. That's a little extreme. But I think he's very respectfully. I think he has a little bit of a God complex,
Mhm.
a little bit of a narcissism issue.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
that's okay. You know, we all have our problems.
Yeah, I don't know if that's okay in his case, but
Yeah.
that's to be determined.
I don't.
Um,
Yeah.
So how do you think a man should treat a woman?
I think.
How would you want your husband to treat you? What does that relationship look like?
I think princess treatment is great.
Okay, what is princess treatment?
It's like, in the name, treating you like a princess. Flowers, you know, just stuff, you know, like contributions. I think personally, the man should be the. So I don't agree with the whole thing that the man should be the provider because I want to work. Like I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Respectfully, I think being a stay-at-home mom is great. How many times have I said respectfully? Past, like,
I
10
like
minutes.
it. I like it. It sounds.
I think being a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job that is very respectable. It's not what I want to do.
Hi.
Heck, you were for like 2 years, but still, good job.
Longer than that, but
You
okay.
said 2 years. That's what you said.
Each kid.
Okay, so 4 years,
Uh-huh.
which is still great. But I think the guy should pay for the stuff.
You think he should?
I think he should. I think you have to figure
So
out.
isn't that called a provider?
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess that is a provider. But I mean, if the
That's
woman wants to
princess.
provide, then you should be like, you should.
Like you want to be able to work. What do you want to do? Because
it's
you want to
not
do you want
like-
your acting career.
I want to be an actress.
And you want to be able to do both.
I want to be able to do both.
So you want a husband who's good with that, that
Yeah,
allows you
I
to
think
do-
some guys have an issue with their wives working because it
threatens them.
it
It's
threatens their
that-
masculinity.
Mm.
It threatens their ability to like hunt a bear and stuff like that and like pay for stuff. But I think a man who's like good with the woman having her own power, having her own create on stuff is the best kind of man.
Should men and women share bank accounts? I mean, if they're married,
If they're married,
should they share and then she have her own? Yeah, what is it?
I think because with you and my father, he makes more money than you. Objectively.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's okay for you to spend his money and also have your own money to spend because he makes like quite a bit more than you. So I think he's fine with that. I think that works for you guys. I think it does differ from couple to couple. Like
Yeah.
if the man makes $1,000, which is unlivable, but it's an example, and the woman makes $20,000, well, you kind of have to figure it out. Like the man shouldn't be paying for everything because he can't.
Right.
But should you be dating a guy that can't is another discussion.
Like, what do you mean by that? What
I
if he's a great guy and
If he's trying to like
contribute?
if he's trying to like
or if he's parenting while she's working.
yeah, that's very respectable.
That's very
I think that's
respectable. Me too.
One of the most like masculine, most great things a guy can do is be able to sacrifice that. Like be able to
That would take
on a strong man. To still, even though it kind of may threaten his ego a little bit,
Mhm.
to let his daughter paint his nails or to like play with her or him, I don't judge, or to stay at home with the kids or to let the woman do most of the providing. That takes a strong man, and I really respect that.
Mhm. So let's get back to the man that's not taking care of kids, only making $1,000, playing
Video games.
video games all day
See, I
while the
wouldn't-
wife is working and
Yeah,
taking
I don't.
care of everything.
I think that's not a man. That's a child.
That's okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's not a man, that's a child.
I think that's not a man. That's a little boy. A man who's in a relationship and who isn't contributing to the relationship isn't a man.
What is a man?
A man See, I'm not a man. I think guys talk a lot about their arc to manhood. I don't really
They
know.
do? Like, this is a thing?
This
their
is a
arc?
thing.
They say
like,
their arc to
pivotal
man-
moment.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
I did not know that.
Could be the first time you catch a fish. Could be, you know.
Okay, go on.
But I think the difference between a man and a boy, I think a boy has, and I'm not talking about like a boy like a 12-year-old and like a 35-year-old. I'm talking about like personality. A boy is the kind of guy that has a huge ego, who has anger issues. Work on that.
Tell me what a man is. A man
is a person who's a protector, who's respectful to women. A freaking boy is the kind of guy that degrades women.
Very good. Very well said.
Yeah.
So degrading women. Okay,
Degrading
that brings
women, degrading children, doing stuff you shouldn't be doing,
yeah.
not working on your purpose, which it's fine to not have like.
Cheating.
Ugh.
So it sounds like ethics and being ethical is very important to your values.
Yeah, I think it's pretty disgraceful when you go and do that kind of thing.
And do these values, is this kind of, does that come from the family unit? Do you think you get it from that?
Potentially. I think obviously a girl with daddy issues or a guy with daddy, you know, that's going to cause problems. You need a strong family tree.
Right.
It's so important. Kids are so impressionable. So, you know, people that maybe don't have that opportunity, makes sense. They might have some problems, which
right.
like, I'm not trying to attack people who have single parents.
No kidding.
I'm like, that's terrible.
You're right.
But, you know, that's what I think.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, but it does, you know, but so ethics are important to you.
Ethics are important
and
to
it's
me.
good. It's good.
I think if you're dishonorable for the sake of like, oh, you only live one, let's have some fun, let's.
Sounds like you've heard this before. I think you're irritating
which
somebody.
this can be girls too, because I think I'm kind of like doing it for guys now that can be like, oh, well, I might as well cheat on my boyfriend because, you know, let's just have some fun. Doing it under the
guys,
the mask, the blanket of having fun and experiencing your life is pathetic and disgraceful and shameful, and you're a coward.
Do you stand up to your friends?
Well, I don't have friends that are
doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But you would.
Yeah.
And that's where you'd have to leave the kind of Scarlett outside of the door and kind of wear the papa thing and go in and confront them. Have you before?
Yeah. I mean, not on something so serious.
Yeah.
Not on something so serious, but just on a general topic of respect. Yeah.
Okay. This is fascinating.
I'm glad.
So now I want to switch gears to going to bullying. So I don't think you've ever been bullied, or have you? I don't want to make that assumption.
I only went to school till I was 6 years old, and then I switched to homeschooling, so not really.
You've never been bullied. That's what I thought.
I did have an arch enemy in school.
But like, were you bullied, pushed down, tormented, had to sit alone? So maybe this next question you can speak on or not, and if not, we'll just pass. But do you have any tips, knowing that you're not an expert in this field, but do you have any tips for victims of bullying? This is a big topic in schools.
In schools,
but you're homeschooled.
I think being bullied verbally and being bullied physically are different things.
Okay.
I'm going to talk on the first one.
Okay.
I think if you can, like, let's say a person says something to you, you're just like, okay, that's cool. Like, if you don't really pay mind to it, you acknowledge them, you're like, yeah, you're right. Takes away all their power. It takes away their ability to...
Just agree.
Yeah.
And not take it personally.
Pretty
much. You told the parents.
Yeah.
Just, it's not really that big
just
of a deal.
Just keep, live, laugh, loving. That's my biggest piece of advice.
Keep, live, laugh, loving.
Live, laugh, loving.
Keep,
live, laugh,
loving.
Yes, okay. Exactly. But if it's physically bullying, that's a different story. Can't really speak on that because that just sounds terrible to me. Like, if you're getting followed to your house and stuff like that.
Because you
call 911?
Yeah. And then well, we'll get off of that topic because
I can't really give you advice. I'm sorry if that's happening. Alert a trusted adult.
Yeah. Or maybe see about the homeschool option because you mentioned that you're homeschooling.
I do love homeschooling.
Talk to me about that.
For me. I switched when I was 6 years old, which was a little hard because I had to leave my friends, but they weren't great anyways. I have some of my friends from
Right.
elementary school still, but not really as many. I hit the microphone.
It's okay.
So
homeschool.
I adore it. I think it's wonderful. You can work at your own pace. You can go a lot faster because respectfully, some people are kind of dumb.
What?
And yes, so you can work faster without having to keep up with 30 other people.
Okay.
You can kind of go soar. You can finish sooner. You can progress. You also don't have to spend 8 hours of your day in an establishment that's disgusting. I mean, sorry, got a little off the rails there. You can spend like 3 to 4 hours if you really lock in
And get all your
then
work
have the rest of your day to do. The downside, obviously, if you're a very social person, you can't really see your friends all the time. You probably will drift away from them a little bit. That's why I suggest doing other things like sports, church, stuff like that, so you still can have that socialization. But either way, I recommend it.
Yeah, so you would. You don't get depressed with too much alone time at home?
I love being alone.
You do?
I love having the time for the things I like to do. And in school, you don't have that because you have to go wake up at 6:30, could never, for school, get on the bus with a bunch of other people, go to school for like 5 to 8 hours, do your homework, do a sport if you do a sport, and you just don't have any time for anything else. It's very hard for me to comprehend that people like
Yeah, like today, like we're in the studio in the middle of the week on a Wednesday.
on a Wednesday at 2:14.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are looking into homeschools because they feel that the school system is indoctrinating.
It's also unsafe.
Yeah? How?
School shootings. It's a very, very tragic thing that the children of America can't be safe in their, what's the word I'm looking for? In their
Place of
education. Because education is very important. Though I think America doesn't really do it right, it is very important. You have to learn. So the fact that you have to worry about your child is very heartbreaking.
True. What is the one piece of advice that you would give any school student that you didn't know from the educational system, but that you apply in every subject that you do? You don't, what do you do?
I think you want.
I do.
Don't go past misunderstood words.
That's what I was going to say. So tell me about that.
Because sometimes if you go past a word, like let's say you don't know what the word flamboyant means, and you're reading, you're like, you run into that word, you're understanding everything. You'll notice after you go past that word, even if you can like think you understand, but you kind of know you don't, and you're like, whatever, I don't care that much. Kind of go blank. You kind of really drop everything.
Check out.
With online school, I am guilty.
What?
Sometimes
I have to practice not showing that
Exactly.
disapproval. Sorry. Give me a take two. Okay, go ahead.
Because sometimes I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
But I would suggest as much as you can if you're really looking to learn to not go past those words because it's the easiest thing you can do to grasp the material. And I think if you're like bad student, if you can't understand, you're stupid, whatever,
Non-comprehension. Oh yeah,
you
I
could
was
just
told that.
I know you were because you thought bacon was made out of zebras.
Well, that's a separate issue.
But I think a lot of it you're not stupid. You don't know what you're supposed to be learning.
Or why, and then you go past all these words, and then you go a non-comprehension.
And obviously, if the main bulk of a sentence, you don't understand the word of it, how are you going to understand the sentence? And therefore, how are you going to understand
the concept,
the whole concept of it?
Right. And then you get labeled, and then in schools
they put you in the slow class, like Kanye West said.
What? I was put in the slow class.
It's a song. Hold on.
I didn't know
I'm going to
that.
find the lyrics.
Okay, you find the lyrics. And
I think it's
and then with the kid, they want to put kids on these ADHD drugs because once they go past all these words that they don't understand and they have non-comprehension and they go blank and bored, then they have nervous hysteria and they want to leave.
Nervous hysteria?
Yeah, they get nervous hysteria.
Hold on.
Like,
it's like
and
they
then
tried
they
to
run
put me in
around.
a slow class.
Okay,
something
so
with the wheels.
now
on
I
the
know I
bus,
have something
like
in
that.
common with Kanye.
I can't remember which
You
song.
heard it here first.
Wait, it's that one that talks about drugs.
That's crazy.
No.
I don't know if I want to be in the same
Hold on.
slow class as Kanye. Although
I got a perfect song for the kids to sing. I'm looking for a traveling. You know the one I'm talking about?
No. Can we get to that later?
Yeah, fine. Sorry. I apologize.
You don't have to apologize for anything. You're at the Elena Cardone show. You just shine. All right. Do you think kids watch too much social media?
Yeah. I think I watch too much social media.
What makes you say that, and what should they do instead?
Find something productive to do, work out, do a sport, find something you enjoy doing. I think social media is catered to take all your time and make you unproductive.
So what could...
But it can be a tool. It can be a craft, you know? It's like fire. It can burn your house down, but you can harvest it and keep your whole town warm.
Ooh. Yeah, so when I tell you, oh, you're on social media too much, and you get upset, and you're like, how can parents...
That was targeted.
That
was mean.
So mean.
That was so mean.
I should have kept that hypothetical. Hypothetically. How can I get you to want to get off of social media?
Why me?
Oh, you know why? You know why it was mean? Because I just analyzed it in my whole head. I'm invalidating you. I'm evaluating you. I'm saying, you're this, you're not doing enough. That's an inval.
Yes.
Eval, you're on too much.
Yes.
You need to get off. And then automatically I put up a ridge and a protest. Right?
So then I put up a protest because I'm like, no one can tell me who I am. Leave me alone.
All right. So I'm seeing you're helping me.
You're welcome.
Yes.
You can sign up for my parent advisement course down below. Click the link. Only $100 per hour.
All donations go to the Grant Cardone Foundation. Grant and Elena Cardone Foundation. Did you know that he changed the name?
I didn't.
The
Good
Grant
for you.
and Elena Cardone Foundation.
Wait, why is all my funds going to that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All funds going to Scarlett Cardone's investment account so that she can have a wedding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I don't think Papa's gonna pay for my wedding.
No.
We talked about this before.
And he said no?
Well, he was like...
And you didn't even come to Mom. You're like, no, Mom can't.
Well, it's not the traditional thing. The dad pays for the wedding.
You're right.
I think it's a little bit of a weird tradition. Your dad's not getting married. Why would he?
You know what, Scarlett? It is a weird tradition. You know where it comes from?
Women who don't have money?
No.
Men who don't have money?
From women who used to get sold off to the men, right? So the men would be like, you know.
Yeah.
So
you took that to a dark place.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's the way it was. It was arranged marriages back then.
Yeah, you could sell me for 2 sheep and a bottle of milk.
Oh, that's so sad.
We're getting off topic.
Okay.
What was the question?
I'm going to change it. So, is the acting hard?
Yes.
Why?
Because you get so much rejection. You get so much rejection.
And how do you handle that?
You just kind of move on with your life.
Do you actually feel rejection?
I don't do a lot of in-person. I mean, it's just the fact that they don't even tell you you don't get it. You just never hear from them again. So, like, dang. Because you can hold on to hope. Maybe they'll message me back. Like, if it's for something big, you can go 3 months and be like, oh, they're still casting for it. Like, I had this thing. The first ever audition I ever did was for the main character in this big TV show. Just 2 years ago. Never got back to me. I was really sad about it for a long time. A week ago, they reached out again and were like, hey, we want you to audition to again. I don't know how.
Because they put the thing on hold.
Yeah, they put the thing on hold, had to recast for it. And, you know, because you never really know. It could always come back. There's this one role I hope comes back, but I don't think will.
Oh, yeah, that one. But another one, because it's over.
They started filming it already.
But there's guest star.
That's true.
Yeah.
You think I can say the name of it?
Sure.
I auditioned for Stranger Things. I wouldn't get sued. It was, I wish I would have gotten it. I love Stranger Things.
Okay, so write in and request Scarlett for Stranger Things. We want her on the show.
Exactly, yes,
We'll provide the casting director's information below, and you just call them and you tell them that Scarlett Cardone
needs to make an appearance
on the show, or you're going on a boycott.
Exactly.
Let's start a boycott.
Oh, I don't think they're going to care if I boycott.
We're going to start a movement anyway. Okay. We're getting down to the end here.
We have a couple minutes left.
All right. So what is the biggest insult that you've received? Have you ever received
Have I ever been insulted?
Yeah, exactly. Biggest that you're proud of. Let's add a twist.
I told you. I don't know.
Biggest insult that you're proud of? Never had an insult. We can move on.
Proud of?
Well, for me on mine, I was called a gold digger once.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
heard
proud
you
of that.
talking about them.
Yeah, so I found mine, but I can see that being a difficult question.
See, I'm quite the fun-loving person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have another question.
go
I have two more then.
Okay.
Or three.
Speed roll it.
We'll speed roll it. Should kids be aware of politics?
I think so. They live in America. I mean, I don't know if they live in America. I don't think this is making
But I
it
mean, no,
international.
for America.
But I think you should be aware of what is happening. I don't think you have to overwhelm yourself with wars and death and genocide and the stuff that's happening because it's really depressing. But I think as a citizen, or even if you're not a citizen yet, or even if you're just, you should be informed. I think it's never a bad thing to know more.
Does this ever affect your relationship with your friends that have differing viewpoints?
I don't really have many friends with differing viewpoints.
Oops. Oh, okay. I thought you said I don't have
really...
many friends. I was like,
oh gosh,
sorry.
no.
That was an owie.
But we don't really talk about politics that much.
Yeah, why would you? That's kind of boring.
Yeah.
All right. Second to last question. If you could have coffee with anyone, who would it be and why?
This is going to be, people aren't going to like me for this.
Why?
I would like to have coffee with L. Ron Hubbard, who is the founder of Scientology. Just be like, well, I don't like coffee. I would have some tea, but
you're going to have some
this isn't
tea.
Exactly, but this isn't about my beverage of choice. I think he's a really, really knowledgeable, incredible guy, and I would love to have conversation with him.
That's amazing. And you should, hopefully, if I can give you some mom advice right now, not worry about anyone that would not like you because of your religious preference.
Yeah,
that is a right in America.
That is a right in America.
That is a right.
Yeah, so you guys are being
it's your First Amendment right.
Losers.
Okay. All right. Lastly, what does 10x mean to you?
By definition, it means to 10x everything you do times 10. 10x, kind of figure that out. But it just means to not, how do I say this? There's a popular saying, but I don't think I can say it.
Why?
I don't think you should ever, if you're going to do something, do it all the way. Don't ever
compromise.
Don't ever
lower the target.
Don't ever have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever just be like, I'm going to lazily do this. If you're going to do something, commit to doing it and even do it better than that,
than what was expected.
Than what was expected, exactly. Go above and beyond in everything you do, which can sometimes be tiring, but it will always be rewarding.
Do you feel pressured to be 10x when maybe you might not always want to be 10x?
I mean, I'm not always. I slack off sometimes, guys. Hate to admit it. But I really do try to be very, what's the word? Successful at everything I do. Like my school, for example, I started in November because they scratched all my, it's a whole thing. But I started in November and I'm going to graduate around the same time as everybody else because I put in work. So it's, yeah. So yeah, that's just an example.
Wow. Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Do you ever feel pressured to be the daughter of Grant and Elena Cardone?
Yeah, sometimes.
And what is
it's a lot to live up to. It's a lot to live up to.
What do you mean by that?
The daughter of Grant and Elena Cardone.
That's like, why? Because
you're very accomplished people. And I think it's rightfully, it is expected of me to be an accomplished person as well. I'm not going to be a deadbeat. Which, every average person isn't a deadbeat. I'm not saying that. But it is expected of me to be somewhat of a sensation. I expect that of myself. And sometimes it is a little scary because I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
but
because we don't do average in our family. We're like, we're going for 10x.
And I don't think you would disown me if I wasn't a millionaire, but I really strive to live up to your guys' standards, hopefully surpass them, but that's bold. Yeah. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed this podcast.
I really enjoyed this podcast with you.
I love you.
I love you too. You really helped me. I already caught myself slipping twice. So those were very knowledgeable tips that you gave me as a parent. So I appreciate that. I think you're just world class. You're amazing. And I'm proud of you no matter what.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Should we do a little heart?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the Elena Cardone show. Yeah. I'm always bringing it to you. Today we have Scarlett Grace in the house who just blew it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
guilty as charged.
Yes. Any last words?
Thank you for watching this podcast. If you're made it here, I love you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give my thoughts to the world and not thinking of me as some unknowledgeable child. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate all the opportunities that you guys have given me, as along with this one. And I think we should go eat our lunch.
Let's do
Let's do it.
Woo!
Woo!
About to grace us with her extraordinary TEDx skill. TEDx badass, yeah, I'm after what I want.